And presenting Alan tonight is Cassell Hall of Famer, former wrestling coach, and Professor Emeritus, Dr. Bob Karch.
Good evening. I'm checking to see who might be asleep after that wonderful meal out there, maybe. Or maybe after I finish talking, we can go home. It's really an honor to be here to speak, talk about Alan Meltzer. You've heard a lot about him already. Many of you know him extremely well, and some of you perhaps don't know him at all. So let me go through, you maybe have heard some of this stuff before. Let me just touch on some of the things that I know about Alan Meltzer. And let me tell you how I know about Alan Meltzer. Growing up and going to college, I went to the University of Maryland and was a wrestler there as well. And a guy before me by the name of John McHugh wrestled at Maryland. He was the coach at Catholic University. I got a phone call my senior year after I finished my wrestling and said, Bob, would you be interested in coaching at Catholic University? Because I'm moving over to American University as the coach. I said, John, well, let me see. I went to visit, and I won't get into the details, but I became the coach at Catholic University. 2 years later, I get another call from John McHugh. He's leaving American University to go back to the University of Maryland and become the head coach at the University of Maryland. Bob, would you be interested in coming to American University? I'd actually spent time here at American University because I brought the Catholic team and together with the American team, we worked out together. John and I were very close, and our teams were close, and I accepted the job here at American University. That was a long time ago, I think 1969, and maybe you don't remember back that far, but it was way, way back. And I was blessed, but I came in here and a number of the people I knew, a number of the wrestlers I knew because we had competed against them. But I didn't know Alan Meltzer. So one of my first days at American University, Alan Meltzer arrived at the university and he came to the wrestling room looking for the coach, Coach McHugh, who recruited him, who was also in the world of wrestling. Some of you know, McHugh was much closer to Alan's size than Bob Karch. I was 190 pounds. Alan was possibly about 120 pounds. McHugh might have been 130, but in the sport of wrestling, when your coach is close to your weight, you're going to see sometimes a lot more of your coach than you want to see. But anyways, that's how I first met Alan Meltzer when I became the coach here at American. And now, many years later, the Meltzer story is being told. So I put down a bunch of notes. Let me go through it. I could talk for hours. I don't think you want to do it for hours. I'm told coffee could be served and more wine if you're willing to do that. But let me just run through what I have on my page and see how it goes. First of all, good evening to everyone that's here. This is a very, very beautiful event, very, very special, heartfelt. The comments about everybody that's here and those that have come before, and then those that will be coming in. This is a great place, and the facility is just awesome. To American University leadership, trustees, alumni, student athletes, families, and friends of AU athletics, thanks for being here. Very special. And tonight we honor a man whose connection to American University is not measured in years, but in decades of impact. He brings and is inducted a lifetime contributor and cannot imagine a more fitting title. It's my privilege to introduce my former wrestler and my lifelong friend, Alan Meltzer. I shared a little bit of this. I met Alan when he first walked in for his first day of college here at American University. He had been recruited, as I mentioned, by John McHugh, who was more his size, before me, and he was a very good coach. He was also much smaller and so on. And when Alan arrived, he later reflected thinking that this new coach was not John McHugh, for he was not his size. We have laughed a lot about him seeing me closer to 200 pounds. Alan may have been one of the lightweights, but he was not a lightweight when it came to talent or heart. He showed up with what wrestlers demand: commitment, focus, discipline, and perseverance, tenacity, and a big heart. He listened, he worked, he carried himself with purpose. In wrestling, you learn those traits the honest way. Every day, in the room where there is no place to hide. Alan lived them then, and he has continued to live them in everything that he has come before him. From 1996 to 1972, he represented American University as a scholarship wrestler. And from the start, he had the qualities you want in the people who will define your culture, and both discipline, humility, toughness, and follow through. Even when with that, what stood out to me was not just that he could do physically, but how he approached the work. Focus, consistency, and the willingness to do the hardest, unglamorous things that build excellence over time. Alan's wrestling career did not end when he stepped away from American University in 1972 to pursue his professional journey. Even while he was wrestling, Alan showed a drive for business and generosity. During his time at AU, Alan became an entrepreneur with not only working in several restaurants, working his way up from busboy to manager, but then became the owner of several restaurants. You'll recognize names of both of them, Mr. Henry's and Babe's. But more than Alan's drive was his generosity and big heart, exemplified by his taking wrestlers under his wing and not only giving them jobs, but also providing housing to support them as they were in undergraduate school. The same habits and values that make a great wrestler became central to the way Alan pursued his career, by the way he led and the way he gave back. Even when he entered the business field full-time, he never really left the university. He continued to stay connected and to find ways to mentor new wrestlers, make strategic investments in the program, and give back. Most people treat college as a chapter. For Alan, American University became a lifelong commitment, as is evidenced tonight. That commitment and investment has continued for over 5 decades. There is a reason that the AU Athletic and the university considers Alan one of the most committed champions. For more than 50 years, he has supported AU studies and student athletes and strengthened departments in ways that are both visible and, just as importantly, deeply personal. One moment that captures who Alan is was in 1998, when he named the AU Wrestling Room in honor of his mother, Alan Meltzer. That choice tells you everything. Wrestling teaches you gratitude and respect. It teaches you to honor the people who provided the foundation for you. Alan never forgot where he came from, and he never forgot the people who helped him get there. His service to American University has also been extraordinary. Alan has served on the Board of Trustees since 2007, and his help led this institution with the same steadiness he brought into the wrestling room. In 2006, he received the University Sciencery Medal, and the same year he was honored with the Meritorious Service Award by the National Wrestling Coaches Association. That doesn't happen often. These are not routine recognitions. They reflect lifetime patterns of leadership, service, and generosity. Alan's generosity has been transformative. In 2023, Alan and his wife, Amy, were recognized for their multi-million-dollar gift towards the Center for Israeli Studies. The center, established in 1998, has been a leading center for study, scholarship, establishing community, building bridges, and recognizing diverse perspectives in the study of Israel and the possibilities for the future. Alan and Amy's generous contribution, along with the Schwartzbergs, led to renaming the center the Meltzer-Schwartzberg Center for Israeli Studies. Recently, together with his wife Amy, Alan has made one of the most significant philanthropic commitments in AU's history. Their cumulative gift to support AU's Center for Athletic Performance totals $15 million. And the new facility carries the name, the Alan and Amy Meltzer Center for Athletic Performance. This building is not just an athletic project. It is an investment in people. The 46,000 square foot center elevates competition, training, and student well-being, and is a cornerstone of AU's student thriving complex. So when we talk about Alan's impact, we're not talking about one gift, one season, or one team. We're talking about an entire belief in what this university can be for students, and his decision to gift repeated again and again to help make that possible. Alan once said, "I attended American University on a wrestling scholarship. What I learned through AU athletics, academics, and connections with fellow Eagles has made a lasting impact on my life. Amy and I believe in this. It's important to give back." This is Alan in a few lines, grateful, grounded, and committed to lifting others. Even beyond AU, that same mindset has shaped everything he has built. He founded the Meltzer Center, the Meltzer Group, in 1982 as a single insurance agent and grew it into a major firm known for excellence and community impact. But what stands out most is how he thinks. He believes success is not just what you do, what you achieve, but what you do for others. That belief has been consistent in his business, in his philanthropy, and in the way he has supported young people through sport. Alan also embodies lifelong learning in the most literal way. In 2021, shortly before his 70th birthday, he completed the final requirements for his bachelor's degree from the College of Arts and Sciences. That is the same trait I saw. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, he wasn't just sitting around those other years. He was doing all the things that I had just talked about up until that very point. He wasn't, I don't know if he ever even took a day off, to tell you the truth. This is the same trait that I saw on day one in the wrestling room, and to finish what you start. Alan, tonight's honor is so well deserved. You strengthened AU wrestling when it needed strengthened. You elevated AU athletics when it needed vision. And you invested in AU students in a way that will last for generations. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to American University's Athletic Hall of Fame, Alan Meltzer.
Not sure I can get this low enough. Coach, you know, I've always called Bob Coach, and that's what he's always been. First of all, Amy said to me tonight, "You're short, be short." And I think there's a lot of friends of Alan here, so they know how much I listen to Amy. So here are my notes tonight. I don't know where to start, but if anybody wants to go home now, they can. Okay. Don't worry about it. Well, first of all, Bob, again, thank you. I do have some notes here somewhere. I have a few notes, but basically I'm going to talk from my heart. Thanks for the athletic department, for the selection committee, for even thinking about me. I was very surprised when JM called up. President Alger, President Burwell, President Kerwin, thank you, because you guys have been part of my life, particularly Neil. Neil and I actually went to school together. So I'm going to see how smart you are. Who thought Neil was a better student than me? Who had more fun? And believe me, I did have fun. I want to congratulate Shelley, Wilbert. I never called you Will. It was Wilbert. And by the way, Wilbert was fast. Now we know why. He was always sucking on oxygen. I love you, buddy. Wilbert called me up about a month ago, and we talked, and it was just wonderful hearing from you. Jack Cassell. It's hard to articulate what American University was like in 1969 when I came here. Staff Cassell literally would throw a jockstrap in my face almost every day. There was a guy named Curly White who had no hair. A guy named Joe Zock that had no feelings. And Jack Cassell was here. So I've known Jack and his family since 1969, and you've been an amazing role model for me, a mentor, and just an amazing guy. I just want to really, acknowledge the family, because your gift. So Shelley, it's great to see what a great athlete you were, and Wilbert, and Jack, you and I were okay. Okay. What else am I going to say? Okay. First of all, I'm not going to acknowledge all my friends here, because with all the friends of Alan, stand up. Because you, come on, you're friends of Alan. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, so that's the friends of Alan. I would like to acknowledge Ella Louise, my oldest granddaughter, Cinnabe, second oldest, Julian Jack, third. Is he in the room? Oh, there you are. Okay. Amy, am I doing it right? Stellar next? What? Oh, Rennie? Stellar? Ren? Hi, Rennie. Then there's Cammy Joan, who I like to call Cam Jones. And then, where's Cape? Cape's right there. Cape's about 5-6 months old. Those are my grandkids. The secret of having grandkids is to allow your children to live. So I want to acknowledge my oldest daughter, Jennifer. Jennifer owns a restaurant in Silver Spring, and shamelessly, please go there. We could use your business. It's called All Set. Jennifer got a master's from Georgetown. Unfortunately, she didn't apply to American. Elizabeth, who is about three minutes younger, got her master's from Dr. Karch. American University, she's an Eagle. My son Max, who was very good wrestler, and unfortunately, he could not go to the Harvard of the Potomac. He went to the Harvard on the Charles. So his beautiful wife, Ty, who's the best mother I've seen. So I got everybody. Wait a minute, I forgot something, my wife. Okay. So let me tell you what happened. It's October of my freshman year, and literally when I came to American University, the first thing Karch helped was get me a job at the A&P. Then I delivered mail for the university. And then October of 1969, a guy named Rich Tomford says to me, "What are you doing tonight?" And God knows I wasn't studying. So that night I became a dishwasher at Mr. Henry's down the street. Okay. Well, the next night I was a head chef, which showed you how bad the food was. Okay. Well, the best part about Mr. Henry's was a couple of years later, 6 women came in for lunch. And you have to understand, I had a Jewfro, a mustache, a chipped tooth. To say that women weren't attracted to me would be an understatement. So, but I saw this beautiful, cute young lady at one of the 6, and I told the waitress, "I'll take that table." So I tried to flirt and all that. Her older sister pointed out very quickly, "She's got a boyfriend." So, okay. They all worked for Mass Mutual, life insurance company. So I started calling up, and Amy would answer the phone, and eventually we went out for dinner. And, so we went out for dinner, and I think she said, "You're kind of cute in a chipped tooth kind of way. But you say things I only read on bathroom walls." I'm not quite sure that was a compliment, but now it's 52 years later, and thank you for staying with me all the time. In all honesty, if it wasn't for Amy, I would never gone in the insurance business. I would have had the great folks that are in the back there. All the folks that work at Meltzer in back, please raise your hand. All right, so no matter what happened, though, Mr. Henry's, when I owned it, Gary Williams would bring the team down, and they'd eat there. And we also, I ran the American University Tavern, too, which one of the saddest parts of my life was finding out more wrestlers were sad that the tavern wasn't here than the fact that we almost lost wrestling. And I remember that, and maybe we'll have the tavern come back. So that's how I got in the insurance business, and I'm very lucky. I'm not going to, there's a lot of deans here, Dean Aldori, Dean Marzik, Billy Walker, God bless you for being here, Bronte, Doug, Provost Bass, my buddy Vicki Wilkins, who talks to me at 6 in the morning. I just want to acknowledge all the great people at American University, Michael Brenner and his beautiful wife, Pam Nadal, who wrote an amazing book. So I don't want to do all that, but I loved American University, and I still do. Literally, I would wrestle even when I was 40 years old, go into the room. All the wrestlers stand up and let's hear it for wrestling. Yo! And Pellegrini, I killed him. I used to kick his ass. But the thing I loved about American University was the people. So I was not much of a student, but about 20 years ago, I just started reading a lot. And my mom, I know I always disappointed my mother in many ways. She was a Jewish mother. You couldn't help disappoint her. My mother used to hit me, and I say, "What's that for?" She said, "That's what you're gonna do." And she wasn't wrong. At any rate, in 2018, I met with Sylvia had, I guess, Peter meet with me, and I said I wanted to go back to college. So I had to take 5 classes, and Pam was one of my teachers, Michelle was one of my teachers, Lauren Strauss, Michael. I took like Black-Jewish relationships. I took something about criminology with Michelle. It was fabulous. But then, unfortunately, I had to take algebra. I was very lucky because I told Peter Starr, I said, I can't do this. He said, talk to the math teacher. Talked to the math teacher, and I was introduced to Jay James back there, who was wicked smart in math, and she was my tutor, and I was able to get an 89 in math. Well, don't clap. The sucker wouldn't even give me an A. I mean, it's the only class I didn't get an A in. But Jay, if you had worked harder, it's your fault. I would have done better. Jay, by the way, I work now for Jay. So she's there. So I did get my degree, and it was kind of cool because Bob was here with Karen. It was during COVID because I couldn't walk. And I think I was the oldest, at one time, maybe one of the oldest graduates ever. But it was pretty cool. So I'm talking longer than I want, but or maybe more than you want. But my family, we had no money. So when I came to college, I actually hitchhiked, and Neil knows we used to hitchhike back to Boston. So I tore my knee up, and what I would do is put the cast on and go on the Beltway and act like I had a bad leg, but they took me right to Boston. In any event, one of the things that I learned very early was the lawyer that helped me buy Mr. Henry's was very charitable. His family was very charitable, and they taught me about giving back. And Phil, thank you for that, and Alan. And then I started thinking about people to give back to the community. In the Bender family, Julie and Jason and David, Michelle, your grandfather, your father, Julie, Howard, and Sandra, what they did for this university, the Bender Library, the Bender Arena. If you don't think people see that and want to emulate people like that, you're crazy. So Amy and I met with Sylvia Burwell and Courtney Searles and Billy Walker in the restaurant, my daughter's restaurant, All Set. Again, I'll say All Set, Silver Spring. Anytime you want to go there, just mention my name, you get a free drink. So we met back there, and we talked about this building. And really, and I believe all the kids were there, right, Amy? Yep, all the kids were there, Amy. And I'm going to tell you one thing, Sylvia can sell. Sylvia can sell, and Courtney and Billy, and they showed us renderings of the building. And my friend Mitch Rakusin knows me. You show me a rendering, I have no idea what it looks like. But I said, it seems like a good thing to do, as long as we have a nice wrestling room. Because when I was here, we used to wrestle on a stage. And you can't make up how bad the room was. My high school room was better. At any rate, my children and my wife decided, let's do this. And we couldn't be more pleased. And I'll just finish with this. Amy and I walked through the building with JM, and literally I think my wife was crying. And Bronte, you did a fabulous job in this building, unbelievable. So we called Jim Davis, who was the builder here. He didn't pick up, but when we got out of the elevator, Jim called back and he said to Amy, and more towards Amy, "I'm so blessed that you allowed me to build this building with your family's legacy." And thank you, Jim, because that really meant quite a bit. So I'll finish up. My grandchildren go to American University. Go to American University. We need more students. Come there. So you got to be Eagles. You got to be Eagles. So I love you all. Now you can go home. Thank you.